Therapy seems to be the hot topic of the last decade or so. Having a therapist, and really the way I look at it is you're just getting a professional opinion about how to potentially navigate the world and how to take different perspectives into consideration while you continue to approach your life. So for me, I started therapy I think 4 years ago, and just like anything else, I didn't just try my first one. I didn't just stay with the first one. If you think about something as simple as maybe like a razor blade, or a pair of pants, or anything for that matter, you usually shop around before you even came to that conclusion, unless you really didn't have any other options, right? If you don't have any other options, you're just kind of stuck with what you got. Like if you end up in court and you don't have a lawyer, you end up with a public defender, right? And that public defender may be there because they are very passionate about defending the public, or maybe they, aren't as qualified as some of the people that are asking for big dollars and have their own private law firms and practices. I don't know. I'm just giving a perspective. For example, I go to a medical clinic that's in the dental department. It is for low income. So they have medical, they have dental, they have mental health services, things like that. And the students, well, the dentists are students. So they are practicing, they are about to be full-fledged dentists, but they are not quite there yet. They are about to be. So they are practicing on in real case scenarios, which is on your teeth. And my teeth are a couple of them. So knock on wood, everything's fine so far. But with mental health services, that's where I got my first taste into therapy. And I had no idea what I was getting into. Like when you start therapy, you're not sitting in like a lobby in front of a PowerPoint presentation and a small video that says, "Welcome to therapy. This is what you should expect. These are the things that we're going to cover. This is how you should expect to feel better, or if you should have any expectations at all." Nobody tells you what it is, or what to expect, or what you're going to get out of it. I would say that 90% of the time when I go to therapy, or when I went to therapy, I just got really upset. And then my hour was up and I had to leave. So it was like I had to bring up all this shit that I didn't want to talk about in the first place. And then I had to trust that this professional was going to be there for me to help, to give me better tools to navigate my headspace and the world around me, right? So it ended up being, I'm on my fourth one now. I'm on my fourth therapist now. And medication was offered in the beginning, and I said, no, I don't want to do that. But also at the same time too, I wasn't quitting drinking. I wasn't quitting any other substances. I was still eating really healthy. More healthy than probably anybody that I've ever met in my life. I was still doing that, and I was still going to the gym. So that was kind of like, well, I'm doing kind of 2/3 of the thing, and then adding therapy onto it. So now I'm doing kind of 3 positive things to kind of balance out the bad, the drinking and the drugs and whatnot and the partying. So going to therapy was really frustrating for me, and I've had other people tell me kind of the same thing. It's I don't know what I'm doing. You just talk to somebody the way you would talk to a friend, except for you're on a very strict time limit, and then you get your feathers all ruffled. You don't have, like, a friend says, oh yeah, well, I know this family issue that you're going through. I know your boyfriend or your girlfriend, and I know how they are. I remember how they were 5 years ago or 10 years ago, or how they were that one time on that vacation. You're essentially introducing your life to a stranger who has to take your word for it. And you have to try to be as non-objective as possible and non-biased, and so do they, to make sure that everybody's getting the best information possible, yourself included. So therapy, I think that it's really important that you find somebody that's going to give you the treatment that you need. And just like any doctor, any dentist, any lawyer, any mechanic, it takes a while to find a good one. The best mechanic I found, it took me probably thousands of dollars of getting ripped off by a couple of local garages and some of these big tire places that also did maintenance work on cars, brakes, and tire rods and things like that. And then I ended up finding a very honest garage out of Angie's List that they were affordable, they did good work, they were super honest, and their little 2-car garage parking lot showed how much business they got. They were always backed up. They always had cars to work on. They always had problems to solve, and people really trusted them. And now I wish personally, maybe you can help. Maybe you can do something about this. I personally wish that in the manner of how people can go on, say, Match.com or Tinder or whatever, and you can type in statistics about yourself, OkCupid, and you say, I like dogs, or I like cats, or I hate dogs, or I like social settings and situations, or I hate them. I wish that you could do the same thing with a therapist, for example, because in my experience, I really am going to have a hard time trusting a 65-year-old grandma who hasn't tripped on acid. That's just me. I'm being honest with you. And also, regardless of age, if I'm talking to a 22-year-old who literally just graduated and has never had anything close to any of the life experience that I've had, whether it be I have 2 stepchildren, that person hasn't even begun to, in a decade's time, thought of having children. That person's not in a committed relationship. I am. That person has never, say, tripped on psychedelics, not let alone one, but many. So there are some discrepancies there, and that is something that you need to take into consideration. Just because somebody is a psychologist or a therapist doesn't mean that they're going to be a good one. Just because somebody is a mechanic doesn't mean that they're going to be a good one, so on and so forth. And you have to know what the capabilities are of those people that are in those positions, and know that at the end of the day, your life, your mind, your body is in their hands. And you should do your due diligence to find out who has good resources and who has better resources. And if you're feeling like it's just not a good fit, even with the therapist that I'm in with now, I actually had the meeting with the psychologist, and I said I no longer wish to see this person again. And then I ended up taking it back because I started thinking like, well, this person is starting to memorize. She's starting to memorize my mother's name, my father's name, my fiance's name, my kids, the teachers' relationships, where I work, and things like that. And it really does take a long time to really establish with a therapist all of that stuff. You're not going to do it in an hour. We think of an hour being such a long time, but when it comes down to your life and you're talking to a professional and you really want to fix you, an hour is that fast. And the next week you go back, it's over again. And you really feel like you're just starting to get warmed up when you're done again. And you've ruffled all your feathers and you just put yourself back into this zone about something that you were angry about or annoyed about, or a coworker or a boss or a loved one or whatever the case was. And then all of a sudden, our time's up. So we'll see you next time next week at the same time. And then you're just annoyed, and then you go in the car, and there have definitely been times when I've grabbed the steering wheel of my car and just started banging on the horn like a crazy person. So I'm on my fourth therapist, and the relationship's going better. It's going still. I'm not completely sold on it. I just don't know how many options, and I would like to see somebody else. Just being honest. I may see somebody else. But again, I'm taking into consideration that that's going to take time. It may take, depending on that person's memory and how many clients they have, it may take them 4 sessions. That's 4 hours over 4 weeks. That's a month. In real time, in real linear time, that is a month for them to even start to memorize some of the significant people's names in your lives, or like where you work or what you do for a living, or some of your childhood issues, or whatever it may be, if it's addiction or bullying or your feelings about sexuality, whatever the case may be. it might start taking at least a month, 4 sessions for them to even start getting cooking. It may take them 6 weeks. It may take them 8 weeks. I've been with this particular therapist now since April. It is December now. So however many months that is, what is that, 7 months? 4 to 12, 8 months. It's been 8 months now. And I was just coming off of a really good week. And things were kind of going my way. And I was in the middle of this like sobriety stretch, which I'm currently still in. And I was feeling great. And actually when I sat down, the first thing that I get asked is, how are you feeling today? And I said, I'm feeling great. And she said, I haven't heard that in a while. And in my head, I said, I've never said that. And then this week, I went in and I had an argument with my mom. And I was feeling really heavy. Like I shouldn't have gone to see her. I just was depleted. I identify with being an introvert. And in that, I need time. I know that I need time away from people. I know I need time to recharge. I know that if I'm in a highly demanding place, like my job, for example, I have to deal face to face with at least 100 people in a day. Hi, how are you? How can I help you? Yeah, I'll get this. Yeah, I'll do that. I work in a restaurant on weekends. So that's just a lot of my soul and a lot of my energy and a lot of having to deal with how people want things and what their preferences are and what they need now. And this, they forgot that. Can you go get it? Can I get this? What do you suggest for this? What do you suggest for that? And it just takes away from my energy. So how I was feeling that day, I was feeling like I should have just stayed home and I should have just read tutorials or something. But instead I went out to lunch. I didn't have it in me and I ended up lashing out and taking it kind of out on my mom. And that was unfair. And then she texted me later and said, hey, I feel like you made me feel like shit today. And I felt really bad. I apologized before she even messaged that because I knew that I'd fucked up. But the point of me going to therapy was to try to have better tools so that I don't make those mistakes. And so that I have better tools to navigate social situations and to help have a better relationship with my fiance and with stepsons and with friends and with family members and with coworkers, so on and so forth. And I've been making progress and I've been making, it's been a process for sure. But I'm still going and I don't intend to quit anytime soon just because I have a fantastic deal on it. And I'm starting to get into the groove with this particular person. So this last session, it was not as good. When she asked me how I'm feeling, I said, physically I'm feeling fine. And I left it at that. And then she caught on that after she got done clicking and clacking in the computer. And she said you were feeling fine physically? What else is going on? And then I just said, boy, let me tell you what happened on Saturday, on Sunday. And it was one of those things. So don't devalue good, close friendships, especially if people are willing to listen. And if they're willing to listen, please be willing to listen also for them. And know that you don't see all perspectives and they don't either. But as long as you're willing to share and be there and give suggestions and give constructive criticism and take it as well, then that could be your therapy. I mean, that is how therapy started, is just talking and confiding into somebody that you trust. Except for now there are professionals that go by book standards, and they may or may not be the best person for you. And if you're going to go down that route, try again. So I think that's a pretty good place to end this video. I'm going to make another one about medication. I have tried, I think, 3. I've tried 3. And so I'll talk about which ones I've taken, and then we'll see. I'll let you know how they helped or how they didn't help and how I got off of them and back on, and how it affected my life, my work, etc. So until then, I'll talk to you soon. Have a good day. Turn off.